Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Damn Podcast. I am your host, Angie Machado. Joined with me, as always, is BeaverBlitz beat writer, reporter extraordinaire, Jake Hedberg. Ty had a family emergency and cannot join us today. But Jake, how in the heck are you?
Doing pretty well. It's game week. The students are starting to roll back to town. Pretty excited. Should be a pretty fun Saturday.
Yeah, it is game week finally. It seems like we've kind of been inching toward this, and it's August has kind of seemed to drag a little bit here. I think you were sick, and it's with the whole quarterback discussion. It's here. So game week is here. Super excited about that. We have a really good show. So we're going to talk game week. We're going to talk the QB decision to start Giovanni McCoy. We're going to talk depth chart that was released, Idaho State preview. And then we have a special guest coming on at the second part of the show in starting wide receiver, Trent Walker. Went from walk-on to scholarship player. Just an overall great story. I'm excited to have him on and learn a little bit more about his story. And I love it when we can bring on a student athlete. So exciting show. And we have someone in the comment. Wasn't able to see show for a minute. Thought we might have joined the Big Ten without realizing it. Yes, we were a little behind. Jake had a little unfortunate parking ticket at
campus parking's out to get you. I don't know.
Campus parking out to get Jake. That is going to be a topic of another show. But needless to say, Jake is fired up. I am coming to you Jake is coming to us from Corvallis. I am coming to you from Scottsdale, Arizona, where we moved my son into his second year of college tomorrow, or I do. I've just spent 3 days on the road driving down here with him. It's been a super fun time and spending a couple days with him. I'll be back in time for kickoff on Saturday, coming back Thursday. So a little different background here, but we are ready to go. Game week, Jake. There, wait, we're back. See, technical difficulties when you're on the road at a hotel.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, we lost Jake again. Okay, you're coming back. Okay. And I don't see you, but I know I can hear you, so that's all that we need to do.
Perfect.
Were you surprised? So yesterday, Monday, Trent Bray had his press conference, and it was announced Giovanni McCoy was the starter. Did that surprise you?
It was it was definitely not what I was expecting. I wouldn't have been shocked if it was any of the three. I thought in the 2 weeks practice that I saw that Gulbranson looked like a little bit better. Like they were all pretty similar, and I feel like at that point Gulbranson was the experienced guy, so you probably go with that. But it does sound like Giovanni had a great final week of practice and separated himself from Gulbranson and Jabari. So excited to see that translate onto the field on Saturday. And I'm interested to see what happens with that quarterback room. If we see Jabari Johnson a little bit, if we see Ben Gulbranson, both Trent Bray and Ryan Gunderson didn't rule out the possibility of 2 quarterbacks. So that's probably something we're expecting to see. I'm intrigued to see who that second guy will be. They had Gulbranson 2 on the depth chart, but maybe that high ceiling of Jabari Johnson's intriguing. I'm excited to see his offense go live for sure.
Yeah, I am too. We've seen a lot of practice, but I do think, we're not seeing obviously everything. So the game kicks off 3:30 p.m. on Saturday at Research Stadium. Will air live on the CW. Okay, we do have to talk a quick thing about Oregon State athletics and their fun little poke fun at the Big Ten there about even Comcast subscribers will be able to watch the Beavers. So fun.
That was good.
Anyway, yeah. So Jake will be there. I will be there. Eric will be live in the press box. Super excited for the season. The depth chart. Were you surprised when that came out of anything particular, or was it pretty much how you had it figured out?
Yeah, offensively it seemed pretty much like what we expected. We we thought Oregon State had those 4 starters up front set in stone, and the question was Tyler Volton or Jacob Strand, which one of those guys emerge and separate themselves, and Tyler Volton did. Defensively, there were a couple names on the depth chart that weren't on the depth chart that kind of surprised. No Tyge Hill, no DJ Westlock, and those were guys that were consistently running with the second team, or even in Tyge's case, the first team at times. So you got to wonder if maybe there's some injuries that potentially happened in the last week that we haven't heard about yet. But outside of that, it was pretty much as expected. The quarterback was probably the biggest spot of intrigue, and that was obviously solved with Giovanni McCoy taking that spot.
Yeah, definitely there. And I'm excited, like we kind of talked about earlier, how Coach Gunderson maybe works Jabari or Gulbranson in on Saturday. I mean, I have a feeling we see more than just Giovanni.
Yeah, and that's not a knock on Giovanni at all. Just at this point in the season, the Beavers, they need to see what's their best option in game, And another note that's interesting to me is this is Oregon State's 5th different starting quarterback to start a season opener in the past 5 seasons.
That's crazy.
Our 6th, actually. We had Jake Luton in 19, 20 Jebbia. Sam Noah 21, 22 was Chance Nolan, 23 TJ, and now 24 Giovanni McCoy. So the Beavers haven't returned a quarterback to start a season since Jake Luton in 2019.
And that's so hard. I mean, that's hard to build consistency. It's hard to,
And I do think maybe that's the reason why the Beavers passing game has been down since then. I mean, the repetition's not necessarily the same as those guys that had a full season in 2018 with Jake Luton and another full offseason prior to that. And then you get another offseason after that 2018 season. And that passing attack in 2019 was the best in the past decade ever since Brandon Cooks left, in my opinion. So I wonder if that has an effect on the passing game success.
I would think so. Speaking of passing game, we opened up. Oregon State didn't play, obviously, but 0 week was this past Saturday. We got to see DJ Uiagalelei with Florida State open up the season against Georgia Tech. What did you see? I was on a road trip, like I said, bringing my son down to college, so I was not able to watch. But you and I were texting. Eric and I were texting. Eric, to me, said it looked a lot of like what we saw DJ when he was at Oregon State. A lot of checkdowns, mobile, a lot of running.
Yeah,
no real downfield threat.
I don't think Florida State's play calling was fantastic. I mean, they were missing the offensive coordinator, but they were ride or die on the run game, and it worked for them that first drive. But outside of that, they really couldn't get anything going offensively on the ground. They tried throwing the ball, the short checkdowns in the first half, and then again, something we kind of saw a lot last season was those late game drives when teams would let DJ, or when the offensive staff would kind of open things up and let DJ just air the ball out, like that last drive against Washington State, that last drive against Arizona. I thought the FSU last drive where they would run the ball on first down and second down, get stuffed, and then they're facing a 3rd and a mile, a 4th and a mile, and DJ would – I mean, I thought that last drive he played super well, but prior to that, he missed a would-be touchdown on that deep ball to Ja'Kai Douglas in the 3rd quarter, overthrew a deep ball to him on the sideline, and that was stuff we saw at times last year. It's just he's got all the talent. It's just
you're watching on YouTube. Bear with us. We have some.
Everything okay? I think we might have lost Angie. Can someone comment if you can hear me? No.
Okay, wait. Jake, are you there?
Okay. Yeah, it says the comment says
there you are.
Okay. The comment says they can hear me.
It's me?
Yeah, I think it's just must be the hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I am in a hotel, you guys. I hope you guys can hear me now. It looks like It looked like it knocked me off, and now it looks like I have a decent
You
signal
should be
again.
back on. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay,
think
so I have been the
something's
one
on
having
my
problems. Jake has been good the whole time.
end.
Okay, Jake, just keep talking. Guys, I again apologize. We are in a hotel right here, so I'm trying the best we can to get the service, but I think we're good now. So yeah, we don't need to talk. I'm at a Hyatt. I'm not at a Marriott. So come on, Hyatt. Let's get this thing right. Andrew, Eddie in the comments. Okay, guys. So we don't need to go too much into Florida State, but let's go back to Oregon State, because I want to talk about the offense, and we've talked a lot about this, kind of over the past couple of weeks. How do you think Oregon State comes out attacking Idaho State this week?
This is a team. Oregon State's going to come out and run the ball. This Idaho State defense, they're a unique defense. It's a 3-3-5, but rather than a two corners, a nickel and two safeties, they actually run the Iowa State variation of it, where it's 3 down linemen, 3 backers, 2 corners, and 3 high safeties, which is a pretty unique look. And I think this is a game that Oregon State comes out and pounds the ball. I mean, this Idaho State defense gave up 225 yards per game last year running the ball, on top of 255 through the air. So it's going to be a good opportunity for Jam Griffin, Anthony Hankerson. I think you're going to see Salah, Hadeen, all of the talented true freshmen as well. You're going to get 3 guys run the ball. I think you might see Jake Reichel as well. And I think Coach Gundy is going to come out, run the ball, be a super physical team up front, and then hopefully the passing game opens up from there. Giovanni McCoy gets all settled in and just drops some dimes down the field.
Yeah, it should. I mean, and the other thing too to remember is that I think Oregon State's going to want to keep this offense pretty vanilla.
Yep.
We've got lots of comments, so keep the comments coming, everyone. If you have questions, throw them in the comments. We don't have any damn questions today, so we will take your questions if you're in the live version. Brian Miller said, how many times are we going to see Jam or Hankerson truck a DB?
This Saturday, I think you might see it a lot, just because based off the Idaho State defense from last year, those guys are going to be in that third level a lot, expecting some pretty big chunk runs. So, and I'd say keep an eye on Hankerson, because he may be a smaller guy, but he seeks out contact. Yeah,
he's thick too. Passing game. Who do you think then has the best day receiving the ball?
I think Trent Walker. You know, he's the best route runner on this team. I think he has the best hands as well. He's a veteran guy. This will be his 4th year in the program. Pretty good receiver. I think he's going to be someone that Giovanni McCoy kind of relies on. They're pretty good. They're pretty close friends off the field as well. So excited to see Trent really step into a bigger role as a junior. Another guy, Taz Reddick, keep an eye on him. I feel like he might have a pretty big day. And then look for Jeremiah and Hoga on those the cross routes, 10, 15 yards down the field. I think Hoga could get open and make some big plays.
Yeah, and that's if you missed right when we came on, we do have a special guest today, and we're going to have wide receiver Trent Walker join us here at the last 15, 20 minutes of the podcast. So stick with us because I love when we can bring on the student athletes. So it'll be fun to have Trent on here, get to know him a little bit. Do you think we see the Beavs pass much?
I think throughout the game you'll see an uptick. That's kind of it's kind of a prediction I have. I think they're going to come out and rely on that run game. Allow McCoy to get settled in. It's his first game at this level, or it's his first game playing for a team at this level. He's played against Cal, Washington State, Nevada, but
Did they play Idaho? We had a question in there. Or Idaho State? Did Idaho play Idaho State at all?
So they've played the last 2 games, or the last 2 seasons. Giovanni McCoy, the only 2 games he hasn't started has been those 2 games. So this will actually be his first start against Idaho State.
Okay.
Crazily enough.
That is crazy. I see some questions in the comments. We'll bring up scheduling. We'll talk a little bit about that later, because I want to keep with the Idaho State theme here. So, I pulled up some things about Idaho State. So last year they finished 3-8. Cody Hawkins, so that's Dan Hawkins' son, is entering his second season as head coach. This is a pass-happy offense. Their run game last year was not good.
No.
Not good at all. But defensively, their back seven is the strength of this defense.
Yeah.
So this is why I know why you're saying run plus, and a team, that maybe you should beat, you go with the run.
Mm-hmm.
But where is Idaho State's strength offensively that is going to, that Oregon State's going to need to focus on?
They have a really good receiver. His name is Christian Fredrickson. He was our number 2 target in 2023, but their top target, I think, Chaden James. Hope I'm saying that right. He transferred to Fresno State, and he's going to be a starter there. And then Fredrickson was their number 2 guy last year. He had 53 catches, I want to say close to 800 yards, handful of touchdowns, and he's a big body guy. He's 6'4", 210, and it's going to be a tough matchup for Jaden Robinson or Kobe Singleton or Andre Jordan, whichever one of those 2 guys end up with that assignment. I'd assume it'll be Jaden Robinson to start the game on him. And another question is who's going to be their quarterback? They had 2 guys last year. They split times. It was Jordan Cook and Hunter Hayes. They brought in a transfer from Utah Tech named Kobe Tracy, and he I would guess is based off their statistical production over the past 3 years will be their best option. Still waiting on an official depth chart from Idaho State unless one's come out in the last 3 or 4 hours. So that's another question for them is who's going to be throwing the ball to Fredrickson. But this is a team that's going to pass the ball a lot. And I think that plays into Oregon State's strengths. I mean, their quarterbacks didn't take very good care of the ball last year. The Jordan Cook, who is their primary guy, tossed 13 picks. And my bold prediction, it'll come out in my score prediction whenever that post. I think Thursday.
That's Friday morning.
Friday morning. I think Oregon State gets a pick 6. I think
they're
gonna intercept at least 2 or 3 passes. They're gonna get a pick 6 because this team is gonna be a team that throws the ball a lot and is gonna ride or die by that passing game.
Okay, so it could be. I mean, we've talked about all August that Oregon State's defensive strength is the secondary. So this is a great game to get them action right out of the gate.
Yes,
there is some questions and comments about Zach Card. Is he back? Do you know any status update on him?
We did not see Zach Card in the last at all during the spring. He seemed to be recovering, heading back towards health. So ideally, we do see Card, maybe not this week, but in a couple weeks. Haven't heard any status update. Trent Bray doesn't like to touch on injuries, so we don't really hear a whole lot. But I would, based off what we've seen, I wouldn't expect Card game 1, but he was listed on the depth chart, which is a positive sign. Yeah,
so it's not a long-term. I mean, I think Trent Bray is sticking with kind of that if they're out for the season kind of announcements. Although some of the players are making their own announcements, with Kelsey Howard coming out saying that he has torn an ACL. Jemai East now has a major knee.
That was a devastating one.
Yeah, it was ACL, ICL, meniscus, I believe.
Was that the same one as Tongue?
It might be. I mean, I know Micaiah tore quite a few.
The LCL, ACL, MCL, meniscus.
Yeah,
something like
there's a couple. Yeah, so that those were all posted on their social media. So we're not trying to ruin anybody's. Brian Miller has said that Kobe Singleton said he's had a pick 6 in every opening game of his career.
Who knows? Okay. It may be Singleton.
Maybe it's Singleton. He's come on strong. He's really picked things up. You are able to talk to Coach Hayward tomorrow. We had Coach Gunderson today. We have a question about Josh Griffiths. Is Big Country off the team or not? As of right now, he is not with the football team. That's the statement we have, and that's all we have. So we won't go into details there. There's been a lot of back and forths, but I don't. The latest I heard, Jake, was, and I know Nick Dashel reported it as well. He's still not with the football team, which is a blow because he was running with the.
He was going to be started.
Yeah, he was running with the first team by the end of camp. Okay, so I don't want to. Well, I'm going to ask you, how I think, what is the odds right now? Is it 33 points? Is that Oregon State favorite by 33?
Let me look real fast. I checked yesterday. Recent? I want to say it was 27.5. It was 28.5.
28.5. Does Oregon State cover that?
In my prediction, I had them falling just short, like a point
just short. Okay.
But
okay, I was just curious.
It's kind of a push. Like, I would kind of just the uncertainty around the offense. We don't know how it's gonna, like, not uncertainty, but like no one knows what it's gonna look like. Like, we don't know. So game one, I'd stay away from that. But if I had to lean one way, I'd say Oregon State covers.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about this team and this game. Who do you think who would you pick just right out the gate, your pregame, who's going to be your offensive MVP of this game? I'm putting you on the spot because I didn't have this in the
offensive MVP.
Or okay, we won't even go offense. We'll just say who has the best game on Saturday.
I think Isaiah Chisholm is going to have a good game.
Chisholm. Okay, Isaiah Chisholm.
One, a guy I really like a guy I think is going to really show out strong is going to be Skylar Thomas. He's healthy again.
Yep, it's good to see him.
He was going to start last year. I think
he was out with an ACL too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I go Skylar Thomas.
Skylar Thomas. Okay, those are great picks. Okay, so as I'm sitting with you in the press box, what is maybe the two key things that you are going to be looking for?
I'm going to be looking for them to establish dominance up front on both sides of the ball. This Idaho State team can't run the ball. At least last year they didn't. They did pick up a handful of transfers, including one from Eastern Washington, I believe. But Trent Bray's prides himself on that strong defense, and I think we're going to see them stop the run game. And then offensively as well, up front, establish dominance in the trenches. I mean, this Oregon State offensive line is massive, with Tank at left tackle at 6'9", 329, and then Tyler Volton at 368 pounds at right guard. Oregon State's got some size up front. And then my second key is the quarterback spot. I mean, I feel like at this point it's hard not to, with all the uncertainty around the position. We haven't seen Giovanni McCoy play a game as a Beaver. We haven't seen Jabari Johnson play a game as a Beaver. We haven't seen Ben Branson really play a game with the full team around him as a Beaver in over a year. Don't really count that Sun Bowl game. So I'm excited to watch that. My eyes are going to be on that quarterback spot. Yeah,
I mean, that's mine too. I think that's just sitting back and, I mean, this is what we've talked about all fall camp. It's what we talked about spring camp.
It's what we talked about since DJ left.
Yeah, since DJ and Aiden and Childs. Yeah. So, and what we saw in the 3 weeks of fall camp was no one separating themselves. And that was what echoed through the coaches. So that is my key takeaway. Do you think, knowing that Oregon State wants to be as vanilla and not open up the playbook as much, they want to keep any film of the offense to a minimum before that Oregon game, because they don't want Oregon to have any film. Do you think we walk away from this game with a better feeling and better understanding of Oregon State's offense and the quarterback? Or do you think next week, we're going to be talking about the same thing?
I think you're going to walk away with a better feel for the tempo. I really don't think Oregon State's going to throw the ball a whole ton. I think they're going to kind of keep it vanilla. They know the way to win this game against Idaho State, because that defensive line is super weak, is to run the ball. And I think you're going to see a heavy dose of Jam, Hank, and Sala. So I think you're going to get a feel for kind of the flow of Gundy's offense, like the tempo. Are we going to see a no huddle look? Are we going to see a huddle look? Like, how much are we going to see of each? Or like, are we going to see any under center actually in game rather than just practice? Or like, how much pre-snap stuff is there going to be? But I'm not expecting a whole lot of passing. I think Oregon State is going to end up between the two quarterbacks, or three, or just one with McCoy. They're going to end up with under 25 passing attempts. Okay. And I wouldn't be shocked if it was under 20.
Yeah, I agree with you on that completely. So defensively, we've kind of the offense has taken so much of our attention because it is so much unknown. We don't know really what Gundy plans to do. Everybody talks about Gundy running a Chip Kelly offense, but they forget that Gundy spent a ton of time under Coach Riley and then Coach McGibbon and Brent Brennan, and really a small piece of his career was with Kelly. So he's been able to take some pieces of all those people. Pardon?
I want to say
What?
he only spent 2 or 3 years at UCLA.
Yeah, I think it was 2. So, the bulk of his career was with Riley and McGibbon. And Langsdorf, I guess, with Riley. So,
yeah.
I just like that is such the unknown. Whereas defensively, we know this is Trent Bray's defense. We know, it's going to have some different wrinkles that Coach Hayward's brought in, but at the end of the day, we know it's going to be a fast, aggressive, swarming defense. What do you hope to learn about the defense after Saturday?
I'm just excited to see them play a game. I mean, this is a team that I feel like has got some swagger to it, or this is a defense that has some swagger to it. They're going to be flying around that football field on Saturday. I'm excited to see, the kind of the general differences or tweaks that Coach Hayward brings in that are different this year than the past 2 or 3 seasons under Trent Bray. I'm excited to see the pass rush. I've got a lot of eyes on that outside back room with Nico Taylor, Sakai Saez, obviously Olu Matoshu as well. A true freshman who I think might get some run in Shamar Michael. Pretty excited to see that group flying off the edge. It should be a fun game. And like I said, I want to see at least three turnovers. I think they hit that. It should be fun for Oregon State fans.
How many sacks?
I'm going to go.
How many sacks do you think?
Because they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. I'm going to go with at least 4. I think we see Samisi break through for her sack. I think we see Thomas Collins get at least 1. And I think we see Olu and Nico Taylor as well, each with a sack.
Okay, look at that. Look at that. So next week when we're sitting here talking, aside from score, if I ask you, was the Idaho State game a success, what will make it a success in your eyes?
The passing game. If Oregon State can efficiently throw the football down the field and, kind of show that this offense isn't one-dimensional, like they do have a passing game, then that's going to be something that is very positive. This is a team, in my mind, they're very well-rounded. It's just a matter of getting that consistency in the passing game. If they can, I think every game outside of Oregon State has a very good chance at winning. I think if everything goes right, they could beat the Ducks. But if Oregon State has a consistent passing game, Oregon State is there's a very good chance they could win every other game this season.
You posted just today the ESPN FPI, and there were a couple of toss. I think, what did it have at 9-3? But the Cal game and Boise State were toss-ups.
The Cal and Boise were both pushes. I know the Boise one, because that one took 2 weeks for ESPN to post that was 51%, and then the Cal game was let me look, what was it?
Because you had that ready to go, but we were waiting for the Boise State.
Yeah, was waiting ages for them, and then Cal was 56.8%. So that's a combined 8% between those 2 games. So I do think every game is Oregon State is at worst a coin flip.
Except for Oregon.
Except for Oregon, yes. That's going to be a very difficult ball game.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. Okay, so we're gonna switch gears a little bit. Anything else you want to talk about with Idaho State? I feel bad we don't have there's no 24/7 site for Idaho State, so we can't bring on any of the experts from their site. So it's Jake and I just talking Idaho State.
It'll be
I know.
I'm just super excited to watch them.
At least you aren't Jackson Moore.
Yeah,
Jackson Moore, who has San Jose, Cal, Stanford, and Fresno.
And Hawaii.
We'll see him a couple times this season. And Hawaii, that's right. Yeah. Okay, you know what we are going to talk about before I bring on the Mountain West discussion and scheduling is Oregon State picked up a commitment last night.
Yeah.
You want to touch on the latest commitment from Las Vegas?
Yeah, this is a pretty cool one. So we got Skylar Jackson, this son of Steven, and this is This is the first son of a former player I remember watching. I don't remember watching Steven Jackson play at Oregon State, but professionally. So that was a pretty cool one. I believe he's being recruited as a running back. So he will be Oregon State's second back, joining Corday Glass. And Oregon State's put a pipeline in that Las Vegas area. It's kind of a Keith Hayward hotbed. And then Coach AJ Cooper as well is from Vegas. And now Oregon State's got 4 Vegas commits with Trey Glasper from Green Valley, and then 3 in Jeremiah Yawani, Sean Craig, and now Skylar Jackson from Liberty High School. So it's pretty cool to see Oregon State kind of get that Vegas pipeline back, because that's something Oregon State's had in prior years, and then hadn't really been touched until we picked up Kelsey Howard in 22. So it's nice to see that pipeline kind of come back.
Yeah, I mean, way before your time, but before Steven Jackson, there was Richard Siegler, who was a Vegas product as well. So one of the best middle linebackers at Oregon State. But yeah, you're right. They got away from the Vegas pipeline for a long while, and then Kelsey Howard kind of brought that back. I also saw that Skylar had a hat tip to Coach Ford as well, the running back coach. So
he's a huge
it's all hands on deck. Yeah, so all hands on deck for Oregon State. And AJ Cooper, I don't think we talked about this last week, but he was named by 24/7 as one of the top 30 coaches under 30. He was a top 10 pick by 24/7. So definitely a name on the up and coming list that Oregon State has there as their linebacker coach. Okay, so there's been a question earlier here about Mountain West option for the 2025 season. That option is supposed to be picked up by September 1. We have not heard anything about Pac-2 scheduling. I know there's been a lot of discussion on X, formerly Twitter, about the ACC commissioner apparently has spoken to the Pac-2. I've heard, there's not happening. Oh, Uncle Filthy says it won't be happening. There's no reason to. If Oregon State and Washington State, I think, can schedule a schedule without having to, pay millions of dollars to the Mountain West, it behooves them to do so, especially if there's some type of a scheduling arrangement potentially being worked out with the Big 12. We've heard that rumored about. And I don't know if you've heard Teresa Gould, the acting commissioner for the Pac-2. She's really kind of been dodgy about mentioning the Pac or the Big 12. I'm just here.
It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. And again, I don't think this is done. I think the ACC is a ticking time bomb at this point. And
Brian Miller in the comments did say that September 1st date, that there is another date that is considered the outside date, and it pushes things out a little further. But the stall, Oregon State and Washington State need all this to kind of play out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I need to get more in tune with that, like the whole realignment thing, because there's so many different parts. I'm like, do not get this.
I know. It changes seriously almost daily, right? I mean,
I should have paid a lot more attention in that business law class sophomore year, because that would have been very
But
helpful.
I don't even know if we would know, because there's some pretty dialed in reporters and journalists out there that have gotten it all wrong too. So to be completely fair, the people that actually do know what's going on have kept things pretty quiet. So that is something too. And like I said, it's a kind of a moving target. I mean, last year at this time, or back in early August of 2023, it looked like the Pac-12 was staying together, and then it kind of just crumbled at the last minute. So, I see a comment here. We're waiting for our guest to pop on here, but
you should be any minute.
Nick Volker in the chat says, I'm in Boise and there's tons of natty hype for the Broncos here. I don't know where it's coming from. Well, they think that they're going to win the conference.
Maybe playoff hype. I don't know about national championship, but I mean, I could see them making a push for the playoffs. I mean, the highest ranked group of 5 team comes in. They do have a favorable schedule. Pretty good team. So, but
I like some of these comments about national championship. I going back to some of these comments when my internet was failing here. We got Andrew Beach. Angie must have Comcast Xfinity. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm in a hotel in Arizona. You guys, my kid is going back to school. I'm going to be, well, I don't think I'm going to be as big of a mess as I was last year. Last year, it was not pretty leaving Phoenix, but I think it's all good now. Let's see. Joe Swin. I'd like to thank all of our traditional regional rivals for assisting us in getting a seat at the table. Oh, wait. Yes, this whole TV contracts and all the things going on. And then I've seen some rumors too about the Big 12 adding, Oregon State and Washington State football
And
only,
UConn for football.
and UConn and Gonzaga.
Well, they were going to add UConn for all sports but football in 26 and then add them in football in 31. It's just confusing.
I just
to add for football, you're going to add UConn.
Yeah.
I get the basketball appeal, obviously.
Yeah, I get the basketball. But so my thing though,
I think
if
Big
I
12
was
is the best basketball conference at this point.
Yeah. But
Or
my
local.
thing, looking for as Oregon State or Washington, especially Oregon State, is we belong in all the sports. We belong in wrestling. We belong in baseball. We belong in gymnastics. We belong in women's basketball, football.
And
there's
just culture-wise
soccer.
too.
Yeah, soccer. I mean, gosh, I go down the list, and Oregon State would add benefit, I believe, in those levels. Now, men's basketball needs to have an uptick, and I think that's hurting the Beavs right now. Whole new roster though this year, so things could be. Jake, you gotta learn a lot of new names, a lot of names,
pronunciations too.
Yes,
there's a big foreign uptick, and some of those the Eastern European names. I'm gonna have to get those down.
Yeah, you will. I have faith in you. But okay, so a little bit.
I need the pronunciation got out ASAP.
Yes, they better get on that. Trevor better jump on.
Trevor.
So I want to go back a little bit to football here while we wait for Trent Walker. So, Oregon State starts the season with Idaho State. Then they go to the road to San Diego State. And I don't want to get too far ahead because that'll be next week's discussion. Do you like that setup? Do you like Beavs going on a road and playing San Diego State prior to coming back to play the Ducks?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it'll be a pretty good test.
Okay.
Obviously, like this team right now, they don't give a rat's ass about San Diego State right now, but
yeah,
it should be a fun place to play. Oregon State's played there before. It's a brand new stadium as well, Snapdragon, that appears to be pretty nice. Starting a true freshman quarterback, so that'll be interesting. The Beavers have struggled with freshman quarterbacks in the past, so it should be a good game. It's a night game, which I know not a lot of people love, but I love night games. So I can watch football all day and then get to watch the Beaver game to close it out. But yeah, that'll be a pretty fun game.
Yeah. And then, like I said, the Duck game, I know there's been a lot of discussion in the Lodge at BeaverBlitz. Are you worried about students showing up for that one?
No.
I
wouldn't be concerned. I mean,
it's standing room only. I saw a week ago.
Yeah. I wouldn't be too concerned. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of people. I mean, I know there's going to be a bunch of both Oregon State and Oregon students. So
is your fraternity doing a big tailgate that game?
They aren't. So the city's not letting us close off the street again because I guess that was a liability or whatever. So, but we got something in the works.
Okay. Well, we won't talk about that.
Can't talk about it because I don't want to get us in trouble.
Nope, we're not getting in trouble. No trouble. Okay. So what do we have planned on BeaverBlitz? You want to walk everybody through our weekly coverage now that we're in game, and if they're not on BeaverBlitz, why they need to jump on?
Yeah, so on Mondays this season, or actually, I'll start on Sundays. I'll start on Sundays. Sundays there is going to be a just the top 10 players, top 5 players, just kind of what we saw, guys that kind of popped on tape going through that second rewatch of that game. Then pivoting over to Monday, we kind of turn forward to that second game, the next game, excuse me. And we'll have Trent Bray's press conference, depending on my work schedule, maybe have a quick instant takeaway article off of Trent Bray's press conference. Depends if I have enough time to get to that. Tuesday. Oh, and also on Monday, we will be starting a new feature as well, which I'm pretty excited about. It'll be Following the Future, where the Oregon State commits in both 25 and 26 will be just giving a couple sentences on how their game that previous Friday night went. Their stats, just like how their team's going. So I'm pretty excited about that. That should be a fun series, and it'll kind of help the fans get to know these players a year out because they'll obviously be playing here next year, or in the case of Rose in 2 years. And then on Tuesday, we will be rolling out the offensive coaches and players, their press conferences, as well as following the NFL Beavers as Beavers alumni are set to are slated to kick off the 2024 NFL season in just a couple of weeks. And then on Wednesdays, we will start the matchup previews as well, and that'll be pretty fun. We got the first one coming out tomorrow, which will be Oregon State's offense against the Idaho State defense. So just go into a super deep dive of everything from both teams on the other side of the balls that you need to know before Saturday, as well as the defensive coordinator interviews with a few defensive players. Thursdays, it'll be the same thing with the matchup preview, just switched. It'll be the Oregon State defense, the opposing offense. And then Fridays, ideally, we'll have a behind the enemy lines type thing with the opposing 24/7 staff. But there's really not a whole lot of that this year, just because I think only Washington State, Oregon,
Purdue. No, Purdue doesn't.
Purdue doesn't,
no.
Which is crazy. Washington State, Oregon, San Jose, and Cal, I believe, are the only 4 this year. We got Jackson there, and then Eric Skopel at Oregon and Jamie at Washington State to help us out. So it should be a super fun time. And then the best part is Saturdays, being in the lodge for those game threads. There's some can't miss conversations. It's a great spot if you're someone that really is a diehard Oregon State fan or just really trying to learn more about Oregon State. It's a great spot. It's also the first spot where we'll put any big updates, whether conference-wise, personnel-wise, coaching changes, injury-wise. The first spot to get that is always the lodge. And then also on Saturday nights after the game, I will have a takeaways article as well, and that'll just kind of give fans that couldn't get a chance to catch the game, like kind of run down like what stood out, like which players popped, what we kind of took away from that game. And then another thing I forgot to mention is Fridays, we've got the staff picks as well, which is a great thing to read. It's kind of it's a little competition, but
it is a competition.
No,
it's a good one.
I don't think I won last year, but this year I'm out for blood.
Out for blood. Okay. No, there's so much. And then we forgot to, we have SmackDown comes out.
That's probably the best piece of the week.
Raju and Peter, Riley Osborne, SmackDown. And then, if you're not at the game, and we do the game threads and Jake's instant analysis takeaways every game, but the game threads really get popping on away games because it's just the place to go hang out. And also, if you are a member of BeaverBlitz, we have a Run Your Pool once again this year.
I need to get in that. So.
It's a free pool, and we actually have a really good prize this year, a really good one, thanks to our friend WH1 over in the lodge. Todd's been an amazing supporter at BeaverBlitz, a longtime member. He also is one of the founders of the damn flag that's been waving. So that's a great team that I've kind of been able to help with a little bit there, but that all started in the lodge as well. So we have our guest in the back room here waiting to, Brian Miller said SmackDown alone is worth subscribing to. Yes.
That's the best
team. It is. If you didn't know, Peter Riley Osborne actually played college football at Willamette. He also coaches at Springfield High. Now he's an offensive line guru. That's what he played, offensive line. So it's great to have someone that actually knows the trenches and can give us idea. Raju was a journalist. He actually was the barometer editor and then came to work for BeaverBlitz right when I took over the site. So you have the journalist and a former player, and they go head to head. But without further ado, I'm going to bring in our special guest because I'm really excited. I don't want to keep him waiting because I know he probably has things going on. But Trent Walker, Oregon State wide receiver. I think, can you hear us?
Yep, all good on my end.
Awesome. Okay, well, I've had some issues. I'm actually in Arizona right now, taking my kiddo to school. So any problems have been my fault. So I'm just giving you a heads up. But thank you for joining us. Trent is a 2021 graduate, Beaverton High School.
Yep, I appreciate you guys having me too.
Absolutely. Such a good story. Came to Oregon State as a walk-on. What was it about Oregon State that made you want to come and play at Oregon State?
So I grew up with season tickets. My family, both my parents met here, and then my older brother ended up going here just for school. But so I grew up watching Oregon State. I was a Beaver my whole life. I went to Beavers in high school where we were Beavers. So it was always a dream for me to play for Oregon State. And I guess the dream's finally coming true.
Yeah. In 2023, you played 11 games. You had 5 receptions for 66 yards. This year, you're the guy. I mean, you really have elevated your game. Take Jake and I through the transition of tell us the story about how you learned that you earned the scholarship, and then just what this transition has been like.
So I wasn't really aware that I was going to get a scholarship. I mean, it was floating around in the air. I had a few conversations with Bray about future opportunities, whether that be at Oregon State or not. But I talked to Bray, and then I talked to my receiver coach, Coach Fence, and the whole meeting. I don't know if you guys saw the video. That was all surprise. I had no idea that was going to happen there. So that was kind of surreal, and to have that with my other teammates like Jack Conne, Bryce, and T-Volt, we came in together. So it was a real cool moment for us.
Jake, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, Trent. So what's been your biggest jump from 2023 Trent Walker to 2024 Trent Walker?
I think like my football IQ, I think that was huge on the off season. I mean, I've been sitting in the meetings with Coach Fence and for 4 years now. And even when he's not coaching me, I was picking up on things. And I think that has helped me a lot in my route running and just like knowing where to be, because football is more than just lines. Like you want to be QB friendly. So I think my maturity and then my football IQ was probably the biggest jump.
So you're actually one of the lucky ones because your position coach didn't leave. So you've had Coach Fence kind of through the transition. But how has that transition gone for head coach, going from Coach Smith to Coach Bray? I mean, what has Coach Bray done differently?
I don't think the change was too bad for me personally, because Bray recruited me a little bit. He came to my high school, so I had a good relationship with Bray. Sorry, my AC starting on. One second. It's getting hot in Corvallis. But I don't think
it's 105 here in Scottsdale. 106 actually.
Dang, that's real hot. But I don't think the transition was too difficult for me and a lot of the other guys, because we all love Coach Bray as a person and as a coach. And yeah, you said I was lucky to have my position coach stay. Fence is a great mentor as well as a coach, so that was huge for him to stay for all the receivers.
Yeah, with Giovanni, he named starting QB. What have you seen from Giovanni that kind of separated him from Gobranson and Jabari?
I think just his consistency. I think you knew what you were going to get with him. Not to say Ben or Jabari weren't consistent. I think he finally started to understand the offense a little bit more from spring to now, and I think that that gave him a little bit more trust and from Gundy. And I think they're all great quarterbacks. I mean, it was Gundy's decision; it wasn't mine or anyone's. So I'm glad he made the decision and not me. But it was a tough race.
How is Gunderson's offense? I mean, that's been kind of the big. Everybody's asking the questions of how different it is. Is it? And I've heard it's fun to play in. You know, what can you tell us about Gunderson and his offense?
He's on fire for his work. I mean, Gundy's a great guy as well as coach. I think we got a lot of shots downfield as well as a really elite run game, especially when you have Jam and Hank. So it's enjoyable being able to go down there and get one-on-ones with a DB, or even like plays just made for you to get deep balls. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I think it's not so standstill, if that makes sense, from last year. But, yeah, I'm excited for it.
So Taz is really just taking a huge jump. What have you seen from Taz from the spring ball to fall ball that kind of elevated that jump?
So Taz was I think he was hurt for a little bit in last year, and so I think he came in with the chip on his shoulder, and he was like what I said. He's sitting in those meetings and you learn. I think every single meeting he was locked in, and he learned a lot. And I came in with a chip on his shoulder, and he's been making tons of plays for us in practice.
So I'm going to go down a little different road. I mean, you said you grew up as a Beaver fan. Your parents went there. Your brother went there. How does it feel now to have these coaches with Bray, with Coach Devan, with Coach Gunderson, Coach Hayward? You know, Coach Cooper came back after coaching there, but those alumni that are back coaching you, do you feel maybe a different sense there, or is it just business as usual?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely more like family oriented. Like, I think we're all really close as a team as compared to last year. It felt a little bit more like a business. So I think it's just more enjoyable to be in the building, I think, with the new coaching staff and all these guys who played here.
I mean, are you guys friendly then with the defense? I mean, I know you're mostly with the receivers or the quarterbacks, and I know there's a lot of the smack talking going on, but are you guys, friends with the defense?
Fall camp, we weren't, because those were our opponents, but now we're on the same team. We have one goal now. So yeah, we're all good.
Okay. We have a question. Brian Miller asked, who is the hardest DB to go against in practice?
Man, I think they're all very talented and good, but I've gone against J-Rob for 4 years.
I was going to say, if you don't say J-Rob.
Yeah, he knows my every move, and he's just a really good athlete and a great DB.
Good, Jake.
What's your go-to food spot in Corvallis?
Chipotle, hands down.
Yes, there we go.
4 times a week.
Yep. I think we might have lost Angie. Okay. She had a few more questions lined up. Do you have any game day like traditions or like a superstition or anything?
I don't think I have any. I do have some superstitions, but it's just like in terms of what I wear. Like, I wear the same armband to practice every day, and I'm wearing in the game every day. And
there we go.
It goes with my cleats too.
Perfect. She had one more as well. She said she saw your dog one day after practice. Just tell us about your dog.
Murph. Yeah, that was my best friend in COVID. So I raised him in 2020, and then obviously 2021 I came to school, and I had to live in the dorm, so I had to say bye to him. And now my mom's super attached to Murph, so it's gonna be tough to get him away from her.
Okay, we got a question in the chat. It says, do you play college football 25, and what level are we playing on?
So I do play college 25. I stopped a little bit because I felt a little disrespected by the overall, but
it did you dirty.
It is what it is. I mean, hopefully we get an update coming soon. And I play on Xbox. I'm not a PlayStation guy.
Do you have any game day superstition, or did Jake already ask that one?
About that, Angie.
Yeah, okay,
Jake,
sorry.
No
sorry,
worries.
this quiet Wi-Fi keeps like knocking me off. I apologize to all our listeners too, and you guys, but I know Jake can handle it all. So, and then I didn't even get to hear about the dog Murphy. Dang it!
Yeah,
I got to meet Murphy though after practice one day.
Mm-hmm. Murph's a great dog.
Perfect. Anything else, Jake?
I'm all set.
How special can this team be?
Very special. I mean, we're just as talented, if not more talented, than the years in the past. Now it's just putting the pieces together and getting the job done every Saturday.
Awesome.
I actually got one more question. So what's a personal goal and then a team goal that like you've kind of set going into the 2024 campaign?
Obviously I got some statistical goals that I'll probably just keep private for now, but my biggest goal was to become a captain. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but this year moving forward, I just want to be the best version of myself and do whatever I can to help the team win. I'm excited for the role I have this year, and I hope to just keep it throughout the season.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for taking time to join us. I know you guys are super busy right now gearing up for Idaho State, but appreciate the time and hope we can get you back on later in the season. Yeah,
of course. I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you.
Awesome. Stay healthy and have a big year.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Trent. Guys, that was Trent Walker, one of the starting wide receivers for this Oregon State team. And I love Jake, thanks for helping arrange that. Super fun to get to know these guys. Anything else before we bolt off?
Excited for Saturday. It should be a fun day.
It's going to be a nice warm one.
If fans are debating behind tickets, go for it. I would pull the trigger. It's going to be the first look at a brand new era of Oregon State football. They're going to be rocking brand new jerseys. Excited to see those in person. It should be a pretty good atmosphere as well. The sun's out. It should be a beautiful day, and it should be a great day for an Oregon State victory. Yep. Did we lose Angie again? I think we lost Angie again.
I'm back again.
Oh, there we go.
I think, yeah, I'm back. Okay, so I apologize again for all you guys that stuck with us. We had a lot of people on. Appreciate you. Thank you, Jake, too, for carrying things when my internet kept knocking me off. We'll do better, but next time I'll be home, so it'll be better. But thank you, everyone. And like Jake said, get to Reser on Saturday. It's going to be a warm one. It's Labor Day weekend, but this team and this program needs the support. And then we'll be back next week, Jake, and hopefully we have Ty back, and we'll have another guest.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Fun season.
Try to set it up.
Fun season for the damn podcast. And like I said, get in the lodge at BeaverBlitz if you're not there. We'll be back next week with another episode.